You want to answer that, don't you? I bet it's just killing you seeing the soft glow just inches away. Someone wants to tell you something or ask you something. Oh, come on, answer it already.
What's up?
Just so we're clear, that wasn't my fault. Next time, ignore your inner voice. Don't text and drive.
Stay up on what's happening here at Power. We've got new shows, new guests, and new events to help us connect with the community. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Power 108.9. You can also go to power1089.com to get all of the updated news and happenings here at Power. Thanks for listening.
Peace and blessings, family. It's another episode of the Vanguard on Power 108.9. We're broadcasting live from the Battery at SunTrust Park in the beautiful city of Atlanta. And we want to thank you for tuning in. Today's guest, she'll be coming here shortly, be East Point Mayor Deanna Holiday Ingram. And so we look forward to speaking with her. And I'm also joined by my co-hosts, Kathy and Kwame. How y'all doing?
Hey.
And then we got another mayor in the building, Mr. Michael McFadden, mayor of the Battery. I can't remember the inaugural celebration and signing in. I should say he's about to say something.
It's going to be February 31st.
February 31st.
2020.
Okay. Y'all need to come on out. but the Vanguard is being sponsored by From Old Guard to Vanguard Photo Exhibit by Kamau Osiris. You can go to Facebook at From Old Guard to Vanguard Photo Exhibit and more information on that, and he'll definitely be willing to give you any questions you have about the photo exhibit and where to bring it to your city. And the show is also being brought by From Old Guard to Vanguard book, so you see a central theme here, and that's available by Malik Ishmael on Amazon.com. You can go to the Facebook Live page on From Old Guard to Vanguard book. So again, this is another way to get my book, and like I say, you can get more information on my history and the history of the movement that I was a part of. So what I want to do now is turn over to Kwame. You have your segment today?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead, brother.
I wanted to introduce someone here in the Atlanta area that personifies our culture. I don't want to give away the questions as of yet, but she's started a movement, and every time I meet her, it seems like we're at lunch someplace.
Oh, okay.
So there's the theme.
All right.
But anyway, on behalf of my company, Atlanta Segment Productions, ASP TV, and now Atlanta Segment Publications, which is our comic arm. That's my little advertising segment right there.
Okay. All right. And you just recently had a new hire as well, or at least an interview?
Yes.
Okay.
Several new hires. We've hired a couple of production assistants. We've hired a personal assistant. We've hired, we've done some casting for some actresses.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What kind of projects you have going on?
Right now, we're getting back to the filming of the 1970s New York City movie that we're making. And our latest venture is the comic book arm. And we have a fantastic Atlanta artist that's doing the cover art for us. So some of that will be released pretty soon to the public. Okay,
sounds good. Okay, and what I want to do is go through the national days and this day in history. Today is National Raspberry Bombay Day. It's recognized as the tantalizing frozen dessert. A raspberry Bombay creates a beautiful finale to any summer meal, and it's delicious too. Throughout August, raspberries are ripening, so get your Bombay on. All right. And then next would be National Sons and Daughters Day. National Sons and Daughters Day brings parents and their children together for quality time. On this day, be with your joys of your life. Let your children know that you are glad that they are part of your life. So today is August 11th, National Sons and Daughters Day.
All right.
All right. And next is National Presidential Joke Day.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I know we can
Make
probably
some
go a
jokes
long
about
way
this.
with that. But again, National Presidential Joke Day is observed annually on August 11th. This day recognizes the humor often found and yet not so appreciated in the highest office of the land. With a nod to the blunders, take a look back at some of those memorable times when you recognize the president.
Or the creepiness.
The creepiness. Okay, all right. Okay, and now from Old Guard to Vanguard, book is being sponsored by the blackfacts.com. On this day in 1925, August 11th, it was Carl T. Rowan who was born. And matter of fact, he was born in August, but in May of 1925, El Haj Malik El Shabazz, better known as Malcolm X, was born that same year.
Okay.
Mr. Rowan was a journalist. He was a political, civil rights person. And so, again, we want to recognize his birthday. And that was on this day, 1925. And also, as Kwame should definitely know about this, August 11th, 1965, the LA Watts Rebellion,
Yes.
commonly known as the LA Watts riots, took place in Los Angeles. How would you think, in terms of the impact, in terms of the political sphere and consciousness that was arisen from that?
Well, in LA, they started paying attention to Black people. That's for sure. That
yes.
was about it.
Oh, yes.
They put us on the map.
Right.
Basically, that's what happened. Blacks just got put on because we were just literally had been shunted to the side.
Right.
Okay.
And what do you know anything of the rebellion in 65?
No, I wasn't born until 68.
Well, I know I took you by the Watts. What's the structure?
The towers.
The towers.
Yes.
Yeah, the Watts Towers. And there's a brother named what's his name? Tommy Jaquette. You familiar with Tommy?
Yes.
Jaquette? Yeah, he was one of the urban revolutionary brothers that was out there, and very, in terms of influential in terms of the consciousness that arose from this rebellion. So that was August 11th, 1965. And also,
it was a cultural uprising.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And matter of fact, I kind of think that many movements pretty much were born, or evolved from the ashes of this movement. They rose like phoenixes. I think of in 60, it was such a pivotal year. You had the assassination of Malcolm X in February 1965, and then you had the rebellion in August 11th, 1965 in Watts. So I think it tended to be a very important time in terms of struggle, because I think the next year actually the Black Panther Party came into existence, as well as what they were doing in Lowndes County, Alabama. With the Freedom Democratic Party with Brother Stokely Carmichael and what have you. So I think it's very pivotal.
And the Civil Rights Act was actually issued that same year.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, we're going to cut to a break, and we'll be right back with the Vanguard on Power 108.9.
Longest opener ever.
Oh. Well, what can I say? It is what it is.
New favorite internet radio, Power 108.9.
You want to answer it, don't you? I bet it's just killing you seeing the
Do a
soft
test.
glow just
Okay,
inches
good.
away. Someone wants to tell you something or ask you something. Oh, come on. Answer it already. Just so at least that wasn't my fault. Next time, ignore your inner voice. Don't text and drive.
Stay up on what's happening here at Power. We've got new shows, new guests, and new events that help us connect with the community. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Power 108.9. You can also go to
That's
power108.9.com to get all of the
That's
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome back to the Vanguard on Power 108.9. We have Mayor Ingram in the building, Deanna Holiday Ingram. And I want to definitely thank her for coming. And from what I heard, that you and Kwame met at IHOP, right? Was it IHOP or some kind of Waffle House? Okay, all right. Yes. And like I told you before, we do have two mayors in the building.
Okay.
That would be Mayor Michael McFadden. Wherever you go within the Battery, they don't say, "Hey, Michael, how you doing?" They say, "How's the mayor doing?" So again, we have two
He's
mayors.
The mayor of the Battery.
He's the mayor of the Battery. So anyway, you go in the Battery, you just ask for the mayor.
It's unofficial. It's unofficial.
It's unofficial.
Yeah.
All right.
If it works though.
We still counting the ballots.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on, and I know Kathy and Kwame have a cascade of questions for you.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Whatever that means.
Okay.
I'm gonna have you start, Kathy.
Okay, well, what I wanted to know, one of my questions was, who are some of your mentors that you have?
So some of my mentors, I definitely would have to start first with the great Patsy Jo Hilliard, who was the first African American and first female mayor of the city of East Point. And so she's still in the point, still an amazingly engaged resident, but a real leader. She was transformative in her leadership. And that's when we had the Camp Creek Marketplace came on in the city. So during her tenure in administration as mayor, that's the level of growth that we experienced at the city. And we have been growing since. I would also have to say, leader should have been Governor Stacey Abrams is also someone I get advice from and really respect a whole lot. And absolutely, I can't forget my mom, who really taught me what it means when I say that service is the rent that we pay for our room here on earth, and that to whom much is given, much is required. And so she and my dad as well. I grew up in a home where, I mean, they lived service. So my mom was a guidance counselor and public educator for over 34 years. And my dad had his own construction company, Holiday and Son Construction. And so my mom, the education piece, and really she exposed youth in my small town. I grew up in a small town called Stark, Florida, about 5,300 people. I went back to speak after graduating. It was still 5,300 people. I'm not sure how that happened. But you know, really this idea of we are blessed to be a blessing. And so she did college tours before we called them that. We had a van. She would load up as many kids as we could in our van and travel to Bethune-Cookman and FAMU and places like that. And so then my dad had his own construction company, as I indicated. He would give jobs to people who otherwise were unemployed or unemployable, and you know, teach them the trade on the job and help them be able to take care of their families. And so I believe all of that is why I say I was born to serve and called to lead, and really each and every day strive to be a blessing to someone else.
Yeah, before Kwame asks the question, I do want to say that you have to be my type of mayor, because on July 24th, you had Goody Mob Day.
Oh,
come on.
So
Talk to me
you
about
trying
that.
to take me like, you know, I told them Councilmember Shropshire does an amazing job of coordinating Wednesday Wind Down, and the work that she started last year was our first summer concert series, May through August, fourth Wednesday of the month. And it's just been growing and growing. And when she told me Goody Mob was coming, I said, hold on. First of all, let me make sure it's on my calendar and everything gets scheduled around it.
Right.
But secondly, y'all got about 5 minutes of professionalism, and then the mayor is going to be true to her dancing mayor form. You know, it was so epic to be able. I mean, I used to listen to Goody Mob when I was in college, right? Like riding. Me and my college roommate were very close, and we were talking and reminiscing about just riding and listening to lyrics, right? And so to be in a position to be able to honor their legendary career. And you know what I really respect and appreciate about Goody Mob is not just entertainment, it's edutainment.
Exactly.
And really trying to enlighten and empower, and you know, really make the listeners think about something other than the good music, right? Like life,
Right.
And how do we really succeed and really understand what we're dealing with, like the reality of life.
Oh, exactly.
So that day will be definitely one of my greatest days as mayor. You know, to be able to be on the stage with Cujo, Big Gip. Big Gip grew up at East Point, went to Dotson Hill Elementary, Paul D. West Middle School, and to Timo. Like, you know, they really have valued and respected and honored East Point, and even in their lyrics, their shows and interviews. And so it was the least that I could do to proclaim July 24th as Goody Mob Day, and also give them a key to the city for the amazing work that they've done, not only in entertainment, but you know, they're also really big in the community and really lifting the community and the charitable organizations. CeeLo has the Green Foundation. You know, Cujo advocates. And Big Gip advocate as well on the state level. Timo's working with the Boys and Girls Club. And when I was kind of doing some research, I learned that on one of their tours, they actually saved children from a burning bus, a church bus.
Wow.
And you know,
Much
that
respect.
is so heroic.
Yeah.
And what's even more heroic about it is don't brag about it, right? Like that's true service, right?
Absolutely.
Like when you
Definitely.
just step in when you're needed and make, but they save lives. Right?
Very
And so,
selfless.
you know, just holistically, I'm a huge, as you can tell, Goody Mob fan.
Okay, all right.
And
No, you're not.
That's probably an understatement, right? Right. But we look forward to continuing to partner and work with the GMOB in our great city of East Point.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Mayor Ingram on Power 108.9, the Vanguard. All right. Yeah. See, I was on the west side. But I think it's important to recognize the indigenous in terms of just those from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's so important because they oftentimes they don't get that recognition.
They don't, and they really and it's like, you know, we give proclamations often, but it really meant something. And those are our first keys to the city that I've given out.
Oh wow, wow.
I can't really find a record of them being given out. So, you know, it's that type of leadership.
Okay. Well, I definitely want to also talk about, you know, once Kwame definitely does his questions about what influenced you to go to FAMU. You know, being from Florida, I'm from Miami originally.
My husband's from Miami.
Oh, is that right?
Liberty City.
Okay. I was in
Yeah,
Hialeah.
I lived in Miami too. I almost went to family.
Almost
together.
Right here. Okay. All right.
And look, I want to retire in Florida.
Oh yeah.
That's what it's known for, which is why, as a lawyer, you still have to take the bar. No matter how much practice.
Yeah.
In Florida, I guess they figure that's the way to make money.
Oh wow. Yeah. Now the directions wasn't too bad. You were able to get here.
When I started parking, I kind of got a little. I was like, no, they said 800, so we just walked out. There's got to be a door. There has to be something. But yeah, it wasn't bad.
Well, my wife would tell you I try to run after a lady.
You don't
I'm
do
like,
that.
man. She was looking at me like, because you look lost.
Yeah.
You know, so I said, well, maybe that's the mayor.
I don't think the man would do that.
Look, I got on my phone, like everything should be on my phone.
That's
So,
right.
that's the number I need to call.
So he was here watching this lady do a GPS system. I don't think she would do that.
No. And I actually got a park right out front.
Oh, okay.
You know, the only thing I know about Stark is the prison.
Yeah.
When you first go in right now, the parking spaces are right
In
up
front
front.
Oh, yeah,
of the
right
building
there.
right there.
Yeah.
Some parking spaces.
Okay.
I saw a garage. I was like, you know, let me just pull right here.
Okay, all right.
Hey, wait,
We need-
Yeah, see, that's what it is. Yeah. Because while I was in Florida, we got a couple of, well, they're like brothers, two friends released that had spent maybe like 20 years in prison.
Oh,
You know, they
wow.
were innocents.
Yeah.
And we got them. That's when I was in school. That was one of our programs, with the Black History
Nice.
program. Mhm.
Okay. We're gonna go right to you, Kwame, as well. We're back with the Vanguard on Power 108.9 with the Honorable Mayor Ingram of East Point, Georgia. And I think Brother Kwame has a few questions for the mayor.
I think you kind of answered this previously. What is the main reason you became a civil servant? The main.
You know, it's that thing that makes you cry or makes you get all butterflies, right? And for me, it's helping people. You know, so I'm sometimes amazed that when the tears start rolling when I see success of others that I don't really know, but it's through the service or the resources that we provided, you know, so I realized that was my thing, and that was my purpose. And so I think it's evolved in different ways. As I've grown as a professional, I started out as a law clerk for a judge in DC Superior Court, and then moved to Florida and was interviewing for different jobs, but went to interview with the legal aid service of Broward County. And it was just like having a conversation. You know, and when it flows that easily, you kind of know. It's like, well, it doesn't pay as much as other things, but I've just been driven to my purpose to serve, and so started there. I was a prosecutor for the Department of Children and Families in Florida. I had my own firm where I represented juvenile delinquents, and I did some real estate, some entertainment stuff, and then moved here to Georgia, and was looking for jobs as well, and then landed in the school system. Worked in one of the largest school districts in the state.
You followed your mom, huh?
Yeah,
Right.
right. So I said exactly. See, I come, and then my own business, my dad, right? So
Full service.
I was a director of student discipline for 6 years, and then went to juvenile courts. And now, while I was at the district, I was elected to serve. And so, for me, one of my strongest strengths is connectedness, and I understand that we're all connected. Everything is connected, and so being in all things kids and children and families and social services is really trying to figure out how to bridge the gap. And so when I entered public service as a council member in East Point, that was my thing. Like, I'm very aware of the gaps for children and families in needs from my different experiences. And so how do I, in this role, bring all of that together, right? And so we started a joint learning committee where we work with our public schools in our city, as well as faith-based nonprofits, for-profits, trying to work together to bridge the gap and not duplicate efforts, right? And really align it to the work that's happening in schools. A lot of times, I remember when I was working in the system, I felt like schools were drowning in goodwill. Everybody wants to do a program in a school with kids, but if it's not aligned to their goals and the outcomes that they're trying to achieve, then it's just managing a lot more people, and principals have a lot to do. And so we work really closely with them through that. We also have My Brothers and Sisters Keeper in the Point initiative, where we had a local summit and invited again all of the partners, right, bridging those gaps, those connectedness, around the table to talk about how we help our youth. And so we have Mentoring Monday in East Point, where basically I encourage volunteers to show up on Mondays in our schools to help our adults, help our kids. So some of our kids have amazing weekends and some have not so amazing weekends, but we want them to have an amazing week in school. So on Monday, having additional adults in the building to be able to help adults and help our kids calibrate to have an amazing week. It's kind of what we do. And so for me, it all goes back to service. It all goes back to how can we be not just have impressive programs, but impactful programs and really trans the people we serve.
Well, I have one. I know most of the time there's always one story that stick with you. So for me, I would want to know, what's one of your success stories that is true to your heart?
One of my success stories that is true to my heart. Oh,
I got to feel this a lot.
that's a tough one. I would say, so a recent one.
Okay.
So we just were selected by Food Well Alliance and the Atlanta Regional Commission to be the first city in the region to create a city urban agriculture plan. And so when we talk about success being true to my heart, I really believe that teamwork makes the dream work. And that while I've been honored and blessed by God to serve in this way, it's really not about me. It's really about the amazing residents in our city, and really trying to make sure that we have a great city by channeling those talents. And so this opportunity actually came to us by a resident. She submitted an application. Then Christina Gibson, then she went to her council members, which were Councilmember Shropshire and Councilmember Gothard. They brought it to council. We thought it was a great idea. And the timing was great because we also had our East Point Farmers Market that's been operating since 2011. And Sissy Lang and all those amazing volunteers have been doing that work. And we have East Point Eats Well, where we go to convenience stores and provide cooking demonstrations with fresh fruits and vegetables from farms in our area. Urban Metro Atlanta Farm, Mr. Bobby's right at our border. We have Truly Living Well Farms. So we bring those fruits and vegetables to the convenience store and do cooking demonstrations. I always use the idea of an eggplant I like food as long as it tastes good. I'm not really
Mhm.
picky just as it tastes good. And if I give you an eggplant, I'm like, what do I do with this?
Okay.
So the cooking demonstrations done by a celebrity chef, Chef Defun, kind of coordinates that for us. Actually gives people, shows them how to do it. We then
Mhm.
give them the ingredients and the recipe. They take it home, kind of do it yourself, but to promote that. And so we had been doing all of these things around health, and we were selected out of 7 cities. East Point was selected. So that success shows a couple of things, and which is why I think right now it comes to mind, because it shows what productive citizen engagement can do.
Mhm.
It shows what we can do when we actually work together as a team, from government, community, residents, organizations perspective. But it also shows what can happen when we focus on what we have versus what we don't have. And so, yes, the East Point is a food desert labeled by some. We have a food access challenge, right? But because we also had residents who have said, well, look, if a grocery store is not coming, we're going to do a co-op, right? So Market 166 is growing, and Pramil is running, is kind of coordinating that. And I believe it's all of that, bringing all of that together to say, you know what? It's not about the glass being half empty, it's half full.
Mhm.
It's not about what we don't have. It's really maximizing and leveraging and challenging and using what we do have,
Mhm.
to be able to be a model. And I always say there's no point like this point. And I think it's because, and I say that because we are a model city and will continue to be, because of the level of engagement and a model around equity, fairness, inclusion,
Yes.
like the things that really matter to people.
Mhm.
A place where we put people over politics, not politics over people.
Mhm.
And I also say there's no point like East Point, because I want people to say, why did she say that, and come check us out and see.
There you go. So where can they do that?
So we just had our 132nd birthday celebration on yesterday
All
afternoon.
right.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So East
Wow.
Point is 132 years old.
Amazing.
But on the 4th Wednesday of this month,
Mhm.
August 28th, will be our last Wednesday wind down, for this summer concert series. And so Councilman Rashad has another amazing lineup. We'll have SWV.
All right.
We will
Okay.
have Kiki Wyatt. We will have, oh my goodness, SWV, Kiki Wyatt. Oh, Angie Stone.
Oh,
my goodness.
How could I forget,
look,
right?
loves
Exactly.
her.
And then Q Parker and Big Tigger will be our
Oh.
kind of MC's co-host. And I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I'm going to be dancing because I'm the dancing mayor. But that would be a great opportunity. You can also come to East Point every Wednesday, 4 to 7. Our East Point Farmers Market
Okay.
is in our in the downtown area, right across from our city hall, which is at 2757 East Point Street. And, there's so much just happening till it's a great time. So
Yes.
if you don't see anything, call my office, 404-270-7091, or email me at mayor@eastpointcity.org, and we'll let you know the amazing things coming up. And you can go to our website, eastpointcity.org.
Wow.
All right. Well, you
Slide
know,
on through.
as they say, just like you actually have some success stories, I know there's also some challenges.
Mhm.
Can you tell us some of those challenges that you're trying to overcome as well?
Well, can I piggyback off of that? That was
Okay.
one of my questions. It
Good
says,
again.
I heard East Point had a reputation, right? And that's in quotes. What did you do to help clean up that image?
Yeah, so that is the challenge
Yes.
and the all-in-one. That was a good piggyback. So, look, when
Good
we
job.
when we got elected to office, the race was in 2013, and then we started serving in 2014. Our residents were very clear about what they expected moving forward. They no longer wanted our council meetings to be entertainment for the world,
Right.
for people to watch to see what, not so professional things were happening. But
I
for
use
us
the
to
word foolishness.
your words, not mine. But to really rebrand and present a new image of this city, and that was a clear call.
Mhm.
And so when that year, literally everybody in the we had 5 seats open, or 5
Mhm.
seats on the ballot, and there was all 5 new people, right? And when we came in, it was kind of everybody knew, we spoke to some, but it was a given that we can't go back. right? And to the challenge of, there's a desire to try to make us go back. But as I said at the last meeting, I won't go back. Now, as long as I'm here, I believe that we will do things decent and in order. We will be a city that is welcoming for all. We will be a city that people, investors, businesses can look at and be willing to plant seeds in our fertile soil.
Yes.
And we have to water and nurture that with positivity, making sure we're being progressive, but not just progressive for progressive sake, being smart, having smart growth, right? And we must and we will be a model for equitable revitalization of our city. We are right. Like I'm gonna say this. One of my college roommate probably like, why did she do it? But like Mike Jones said, back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They're all on me, right? So right now, East Point is hot. And there are a lot of people who ask to have meetings with me. I meet quite a bit. It's a part-time job with full-time responsibilities. I'm probably there almost like every day, but I love it, right? And so, but I know there are people who are not meeting with me who have different motives or different desires. And so I'm just crazy enough to believe that we can minimize the negative impacts of gentrification, if not prevent it, by being strategic, intentional, and smart in the way we grow. And so I tell people I'm looking for people who not only want to build buildings, but want to build communities. And you can make money. I have no problem. I'm an entrepreneur. I understand that. But you don't have to be greedy.
Nope.
And so greed is what really makes the way communities are gentrified not feel so nice, right? It's the coming in and we're gonna displace everybody that's there. You can't live here. We're gonna bring in a new citizenry.
Correct.
And so we're just crazy enough to believe in East Point that we can allow people who have been with us through thick and thin to grow with us. That we can do that and attract new residents. And I just met a gentleman yesterday, him and his family, they just moved to East Point from Buckhead.
Okay.
You got people relocating from Buckhead to Decatur, other places where people generally would go to from East Point. The tides are changing. But we know as leaders of this government that we have to be very intentional to make sure that our citizens aren't left behind. I got this email from a senior sometime last year, and it resonated to me about the reality of growth. So while some see it as a great thing, this senior citizen said to me, you're talking about all this growth, you're just going to push us out. And you're not gonna, you're gonna push all the seniors out or whatever. And it was some other things. And I said, oh my God, what's your address? What's your phone number? And I immediately got on the phone because that's not what we want. But what I heard in her voice is a very real fear because she's been through this before, right? Or she's seen it. But it's personal. And so we are really right now working on even engaging consultants around helping us to ensure that we do a housing first model and make sure that we create ordinances and policies that allow people to stay and grow with us. And it's difficult. It's not the typical model, right? But I believe it can be done. I believe it can be done if you diversify the ownership of the land. Gentrification really happens because of ownership.
And because part of that included would be once you do actually start building up, taxes go up. And a lot of times that's where you lose the people that's currently there.
Right. And but I think there are things that we can do strategically to make sure if you diversify ownership of the land, right? So I tell people I sell property I don't own because I want people to come and buy and be responsible developers within our city. And so we have a lot of opportunities.
Okay. Well, I told y'all to get y'all popcorn ready because Mayor Ingram's in the building. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with the Vanguard on Power 108.9. We got to still jump on that FAMU.
Gotta get to my orange.
Gotta get to the FAMU now. Gotta get to the rats.
Gotta get to my roots.
Now, y'all was the Sonic Boom, right?
That's it.
No, wait a minute. I know we were the Oh, that's right.
The
Who am,
infamous.
who am I confusing? Because we're the jukebox.
State.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's right. Get it right.
There you go.
Yeah, no, the mark.
What's that Jackson Spade? That's Mississippi, right?
Yeah,
Jackson State.
I was
Yeah.
confused. You know, like
So the mayor's educating you.
Yeah. That's
oh well,
I
you
know
know.
my HBC roots.
Yeah. You know,
FAMU undergrad, Howard Law School.
something interesting happened to me in the last week. I live in Sylvan Hills, right? Well, according to Google, I'm 2.3 miles from downtown East Point, right? So I actually want to move, into East Point business-wise, and I'm actually planning on moving from my location right now. But while I was walking through the Beltline, I had a lot of dealings in the Beltline. Somebody's actually buying up Murphy Avenue. Literally, Murphy Avenue has literally all of those buildings that have been there over 100 years, like the Box Company. Somebody just
blighted.
literally, boom, just
Murphy
bought
Avenue
them.
don't look like this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so literally it's ownership. Like I have a colleague in a counselor from Charlotte, North Carolina. She said something about 1,200 units.
Whoa.
12.
Not 12.
You don't buy 1,200 units unless you're totally trying to
Transform.
Yes.
recreate.
You know they call it?
Yeah, fair.
No.
We're on there.
Yes.
It's still hot, Mike.
You know what? My friends, everybody's we're becoming more and more political nowadays. We don't even use the word gentrification; we call it invasion. It's a proper terminology when you understand.
Yeah, East Point, they
Yes.
gotta come say hi.
Yes.
Oh,
How are y'all? Yes, sir. How are you? You bet.
You got two mayors. Come on.
yeah. The votes are still out.
Listen.
Yeah, how you doing, brother? Malik Ishmael.
That's
All right.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, nice to meet you guys. Yeah, gotta have you on one time, brother. Talk about what you talking about. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I am.
All
right.
That's right.
I need to come to the point.
There you go.
The mayor, what's that saying?
Oh, we're having a wind down on August 28th.
Oh, can you tell him that?
Everybody's gonna be there.
There's no point like that.
There it is, bro. You heard it, right?
Reggie Stone.
Look at it.
Yeah.
At 5 o'clock. Downtown.
Look at it.
Uh-oh.
We're doing at the show. We're doing
That's right. He is running.
You gotta get people to stop property.
All right.
Ownership.
I was surprised at two mayors. Well, we have three mayors here now. Great company. He fake mayor. Okay, all right.
But two of them are still out.
It's the last break.
Oh, okay.
Take y'all to 12 o'clock.
All right.
Malik, can I start off this segment?
I'll refer right to it. Here we go, Captain.
So is this live or?
Yeah, live on all platforms. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Hi.
Probably cameras we don't see.
I didn't want to mention anything earlier. But.
Live broadcast. YouTube.
Council members, so each of us will be able to make an appointment to that commission. The persons have to be a resident at this point, an employee, active or retired, or business owners within the city. And we are now kind of going into this space of trying to creating a plan that will build this system for us. And so what we have though is, again, this kind of organic thing happening. So I think we are at a great place because of Windmill Art Center. Matt and Sam are from California, and they decided to go ahead and like remodel, really reconstruct a building that is in our heart of our downtown on Church and Thompson Street, and it is a theater. It's a black box theater. Awesome. And so they have a room on the front where you can kind of do like some smaller things, but in the back there's a full theater, like about an 80 seat. They are really committed to artists to be able to have their work shown and heard, or to have people experience it because they're artists themselves. And so they've been in this for a long time, and so what they've done is taken all their lessons learned and created the Windmill Art Center to be this amazing experience. We have the vault at East Point. And Matt and Sam chose to come to the city, right? So I can't, when I knew about it, I was going to ribbon cutting. And so I always, and I'm thank you for making that investment. We have the vault at East Point, which focuses on arts, wealth, entrepreneurship, and wellness. And they have like art displays periodically. They'll switch out the art. And they chose East Point. Sonia Booker is the owner of that amazing awesome event space and place for people to come and basically get the resources they need from an artistic perspective. And then the Arts Exchange chose East Point. Dr. Lovelace, and everyone knows that rich history of the Arts Exchange. Its home is now in East Point. We have 7 Arts Center, Artsy Bella, and so all of these. And Bell Ethnic. I cannot forget Bell Ethnic. They've been in the city almost 30 years, almost 3 decades. Planet Roots have been there and do phenomenal productions, but not only that, training for young artists. So we have arts in a lot of different facets, and it's because of that now we are able, now when we're trying to do the public arts plan and create this commission and create ordinances and policies that help promote that, right? So I say our forefathers thought we were going to be an industrialized city,
right?
And so that's kind of our foundation. But now we're not. We've evolved, and we still have some of that, but we are a more diverse city, and so we have the awesome advantage and opportunity to have so many amazing creatives be in our city, to be able to help use their experience and their talents and their expertise to guide us in this future direction of having public art.
And I'm next.
There you go.
And you're next, exactly. That's what we were talking about at Waffle House when we met, right? To be able to have this amazing experience, and I tell people, I'm not really a creative, but Dr. Lovelace says everybody is an artist, so I'm saying I am an artist. But I can look at a picture and just because I don't like it or it doesn't resonate with me does not mean it's not an amazing piece of art.
Right.
And so I am really excited about the people who will be on this arts commission, because we'll be able to have experts make recommendations to us who do this work and live this work, so that we can make sure that we avoid as many unintended consequences as possible and really model for a public arts district.
Okay, I was going to ask, how did going to historically black colleges, FAMU, and then Howard University, how did that impact you?
Hey, so I learned how to work hard and play hard.
All right.
At my HBCUs. I tell people I have orange and green blood in my vein, for the record. So I am FAMUing. I'm a rattler. I'm a Sybil's baby, and I was a SBIN, so a School of Business and Industry, and double majored in business administration and accounting, and double minor in criminal justice and psychology. And actually, that's when I was first introduced to Dr. Asa Hilliard's work, when I minored in psychology.
Wow.
And what was so amazing when we chose, like, I didn't know he lived in East, I didn't know any of that. But when we chose to live in East Point, and eventually we lived right down the street from Mayor Hilliard, in the home of Dr. Asa Hilliard. And so when I was running the first time for council, to go sit in their house on the couch, right, of someone that was an amazing intellectual, just internationally. So it was all full circle for me. And so, the orange and green blood in my veins taught me that, going to HBCUs, there's a level of competition, but it's with yourself,
right?
And you know that you're already great, right? So it's not this really trying to prove my greatness. It's trying to prove that I am worthy to continue to be great through the skills I build and through the relationships and networks that I have. And so on the highest of 7 hills in Tallahassee, Florida, I learned those amazing, valuable lessons.
Oh, beautiful.
And we're still striking from the top. And as you said, I chose to go to Howard for law school.
Okay.
And not a majority school. I had people saying, well, you already had a Black experience. Why don't you choose a majority? I'm like, well, I really don't need validation.
Right.
I want to have an amazing experience. And I went on tours to visit different law schools. And when I visited Howard, I just knew it was it. It was the feeling. It was, I sat in on classes. It was walking through the halls and seeing Thurgood Marshall and Charles Hammond in Houston. And, like really understanding that being educated in an environment like that was going to give me everything that I needed to be able to continue to excel in this world. And it has.
Well, our resident mayor definitely from D.C. So
Oh, yeah, Southeast all day.
Southeast.
Yes.
Right.
Madam Mayor, can I ask a quick question? Real hood question for me, though. But straight up, so, like, when was the moment you realized that you were going to win the election? And then when did it become real for you that I'm now the mayor of East Point?
So the moment I realized that I was gonna win, it literally was not until the night of the runoff, right? So my race was quite an interesting race. I in the general election, I almost avoided a runoff. I only needed like 1.4% more. So you're talking about 40, very little. And then the runoff election is basically a new election in 3 weeks. When you've built probably a year working on the general. And so it was an interesting time. But faith without works is dead. And so we just believed in putting in the work. No one is going to outwork me. And no one was going to outwork our team. And really it was about getting to people. I know that that's one of my strengths. That's one of my gifts, interacting with people. And I believe I have the gift of interacting with people in a way that's real, authentic, and caring. And so we just got on those doors, but it really did not become real until that night. And we started checking the numbers that were coming in from our 4 different voting locations. And it was like, wow. And when did I realize that, okay, you really are the mayor?
Wow.
It's probably the first day on the job.
At the Waffle House.
So yeah, January. That was when I met Kwame.
that's
Actually, my first day as mayor at the community dinners
You
that
and
they
your
do.
great husband.
Yes, me and my amazingly supportive husband. Like I couldn't do any of this without my bae, Will. Love you, bae.
So well.
So we met at the Waffle House, and so that was, people start calling you mayor. Like when I was a council member, people kind of knew me, but like you can never really go anywhere anymore right now, right? And so that's interesting. But the first day on the job, we had a huge water main break.
Wow.
Right. Like welcome to the new role, right? But then I also felt the sense of like while it's a lot of
water was symbolic of the Holy Spirit.
A birth.
There we go.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Kwame. Thank you. Yes. And then we had another one next week. I had like
Your
3 in my first
overflow.
month.
Cup overflow.
Cup overflow. That's what it meant. So three in the first month. Yeah.
Yes.
But it was it was different. And while it comes with a lot of responsibility, it's a huge honor, right? And so it's amazing to wake up every day and to say, okay, what can I do today that's going to help continue to make my city great, but to also meet the needs of my residents? And how can we do that efficiently, effectively, fiscally responsibly, and fun? So that people love, it's a feeling. Right. And so when I say there's no point like East Point, I keep saying it because I want people to have that feeling. And I do believe that feeling is becoming very pervasive in our city. People are promoting our city. People are feeling good about our city. It doesn't mean we're perfect. There is no perfect person or place in this world. But it does mean that when the majority of your residents feel that way, that we're going to be able to overcome anything that comes our way because of that love and that connection and that common goal of ensuring that we grow and succeed together.
Well, I would definitely thank you for coming on the Vanguard. We was waiting for you.
Oh man, it's
we had
over?
the
This is
popcorn
cool.
buttered and ready. And again, how can people reach out to you via social media?
Oh yes, yeah, I'm really bad with that. I
Oh, that's all right. He taught me.
Yeah, so on Facebook is Mayor Dina Holiday Ingram.
Okay.
On Twitter and Instagram is at Dina Ingram, and it's spelled Ingraham, Ingraham, but pronounced Ingram. I'm also on LinkedIn, and then my email address is mayor, MAYOR at eastpointcity.org. And our phone number is 404-270-7091, 404-270-7091. And our location is in the great new City Hall building at 2757 East Point Street in the heart of our downtown. So at any of those places, I do have an open door. I'm very accessible. And then you can always see me at any of our amazing events.
Especially the Waffle House. I heard.
Especially the Waffle House.
And I want to do a shout out for Oz Pizza too.
Oh,
okay, all right.
And Cupcakery has the best
Oh,
cupcakes
yes,
in Georgia,
oh, yes.
in downtown East Point.
That's where we actually have our art meetings for my
Oh,
company. Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Yeah. So great things are happening in East Point.
Well, as we wrap up, I want to definitely let everybody know the mayor has her task down. And there are 3 tasks in life that I always like to say: know your history and honor it, engage your present and improve it, and imagine your good future and forge it. And they're doing it in the
wow.
point. So,
Thank you, because there's
we'll
no
check-
point like East Point.
No point like East Point. Well, we'll be back with the Vanguard next week with Valentine Ali. So we want to thank you for tuning in, and we'll check you later. Take care.
Wow,
Mike.
that was fun.